Hi everyone, it's the Multilingual Mommy, and I wanted to share some thoughts that I was having today about learning language. So, I'm a language teacher and I've been teaching English for about over 12 years, and I have a master's degree in applied linguistics. So, I've studied first language acquisition and I've seen a lot of second language acquisition happening in real life. Now, I have two young children. My oldest is 2.5, and so it's really interesting to watch him learn language for the first time and also to do it bilingually. So I see a lot of similarities in learning first and second languages, and I see some differences. One of the similarities is that I notice first people learn words and then they seem to learn language chunks or phrases. And right now he's picking up a lot of phrases, which is what's making me think about this. So I was thinking for a parent that doesn't know a second language, um, this might be a useful way to help your child learn the second language and also for you to learn it at the same time. You can first work on vocabulary as you would when they're pretty young, learning things like cat and ball and dog in whatever the target language is. And then you can also start chunking the language into phrases. And I would recommend using phrases that are useful in their daily life. So look around, listen for a few days, listen to the phrases that your kids are saying, and you probably already know them. But if you can't think of any, just kind of stop and listen for the chunks and phrases that they're using. And then simply use a Google Translator or just look online and try to find out what the translation is and also how to pronounce it. Make sure that you practice it a few times and you know how to pronounce it correctly. So, I'm going to talk about a few phrases that we see happening in our house. Um, what made me think of this was something came up last night, and that my son, we were feeding our newborn. He's not a newborn anymore, he's a few months old. And our older son wanted to help, and all of a sudden he said, "May I help?" Which we were amazed at because it was so polite. And I know that we didn't teach him that. He must have learned that at daycare. And it was so cute how he said, "May I help?" And it was so polite. And I realized he had learned this language as a chunk, as a phrase. And so if you are, and also it's a phrase that he was actually using. So in that moment, when they're saying those phrases, you can also teach them the other phrase in the other language. And then in the times that they're using it, also prompt them to say it in the second language. Don't force it, don't make it like so that they're stressed about it, but just start including it and trying to repeat it yourself and try to get them to say it. At the age of 2, they pretty much repeat everything that you say, so it's the perfect time to get it in. But so, for example, instead of saying, "May I help?" in our house, we speak Spanish. So, my husband, we both speak Spanish, but he's the native speaker, he would then prompt just saying, "Puedo ayudar?" So, then making sure that our son knows both of the words in Spanish and in English. And then the next time that he uses it, we'll prompt both. We're not going to stress any certain result, but we're going to prompt both. Don't stress your kids. This is the main thing. I've watched too many parents stress their kids out about learning a language and then they shut down. They don't want to do it. So just prompt it, make it available. You can push a tiny little bit, but just try to make it part of your daily life. So if Spanish is the target language for you, I'm going to give you some other phrases that are common in our household. So one thing that Oliver says, my oldest son, is he says "dame," so give me. He doesn't really say like "give me the milk." Right. This one he'll say in Spanish. So he seems to just have some phrases that he prefers in Spanish and some phrases that he prefers in English. But he knows both. He understands both. And if I wanted him to use it in English, I would just prompt him a little bit more on it. But like I said, I don't want to stress him out, so I don't push anything. I just make sure that he's aware. And I also repeat that in English. So If you're speaking English and you want them to speak Spanish, you can just teach them to say dame. And then you can prompt it with whatever it is they normally want. If they say, like, if they usually want milk, and they usually ask for milk, you can just say, okay, dame la leche, por favor. And you can chunk it. Dame la leche. And after they have those things, or dame el juguete, give me the toy. After they're able to chunk those two things, you can even add like a por favor, right? Something polite. And then they have a whole phrase. And so anytime that they ask for something, Mama, give me some milk, you can start prompting those phrases in the second language. Dame la leche, por favor. And they'll start, if they're very young, they'll just start with parts of the word or parts of the phrase, and then they'll get it if you repeat it enough. Another thing we do is at night we say time to pick up. So when we're picking up the toys, I will sing like pick up, pick up, pick up, and I like to sing it because it seems exciting and fun. And they also seem to pick up language easier with songs. But that's a phrase that my son knows. And when my husband does it, he just says like recogemos los juguetes. So again, you're going to learn that phrase. And in Spanish, it's like recoger or recoger los juguetes. And learn the phrase, and then you can just say it. And singing it a lot is going to help. Another phrase that our child uses is my turn a lot. And he always says, my turn, my turn, my turn. And you're probably very familiar with that phrase. So, if you have a young child like I do. So, you can look up the phrase for my turn in any language that is your target language. But in Spanish, it would be me toca a mí. So learn it, practice it a few times, make sure you're saying it correctly, and then again, just repeat it whenever they're saying my turn, my turn, my turn, and you need a break from the my turn, put it in the other language. Might be a little bit better. And they can just say me toca a mí, me toca a mí. And so again, you learn it and they learn it at the same time. And I think that's ideal for somebody that doesn't really know the second language. You guys are learning the language together. But the key is you're putting it into their life in a real way, in a way that they use already and on a daily basis. So they have the context for it, they have the opportunity to use it, and it's regular and consistent input. And that's really what a child needs to learn a language. So those are my recommendations for you. I'm going to put a website that I like to use for kind of colloquial phrases in Spanish. I'm not sure if it does other languages, but it's called wordreference.com. I'll put that in the comments or the notes of this video. And you can look for other websites like that to help you understand or to find kind of common phrases that you want to learn. And also just make sure you Google correct pronunciation, and listen to those so that you're giving that kind of correct input to them. Okay, I hope this tip was helpful for you. Please, if you liked it, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've also got a Facebook page called The Multilingual Mommy, so you can like that and follow any articles that I post. I try to put a lot of information about learning second languages in families or as adults or for kids. I also have a website, www.multilingualmommy.com, and I'm going to be coming out with a podcast soon. So stay tuned for that. And if you have any questions, you can email me at multilingualmommy@gmail.com. I'm in Florida right now. It's very rainy. And just send me an email, and then I will turn that question into a YouTube video or a podcast or a blog post, something like that to help you and everybody else out. Okay, well, thanks for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.